The mighty name of Allah, the ever gracious, the ever merciful. All praise is due to Allah. We thank Him. We seek forgiveness of our sins from Him. We put all our trust in Him. We seek Allah's protection against the evils of our arms and our hearts. I bear witness that none deserves to be worshipped except Allah alone, the guardian of the righteous. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah's apostle and also his servant. I seek Allah's choicest blessings upon him, upon members of his worthy household, his courageous companions, and upon all those who will continue to follow their footsteps till the day of accounting. Thereafter, I extend the best courtesy by saying, may Allah's peace and blessings abide with us. Good evening, welcome to Family Ta'aleem tonight. We thank and appreciate Allah for the gift of life, gift of faith, for security, peace of mind, good health, and happiness. All of these combined to make tonight's program possible and also easy. We thank and appreciate Allah for everything. We ask Allah to accept our appreciation, our gratitude, and increase His favors in these and other regards in our lives. Tonight we are continuing our theme, marriage as an act of ibadah. 2, why great men don't have great family. We want to take Adam and Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam. And 3, what are the lessons derivable from this? Then that will be a conversation. What are we taking home from this conversation so that all of us will discuss this? The first issue is the issue of an act of ibadah. Marriage is an act of ibadah for 3 reasons. 1, it is the first opportunity to establish khilafah, micro khilafah. 2, it is sadaqah. It is sadaqah because you are going to take care of somebody else's daughter. And 3, it is an opportunity to be tied to Allah, to be bonded with Allah. So let's look at these 3 reasons. Allah created us basically as khulafa. In ayah 165 of Surah An'am, Surah 6, ayah 165, Allah says, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَكُمْ خَلَائِفَ الْأَرْضِ, is the one who has made you his vicegerents on earth. وَرَفَعَ بَعْضَكُمْ فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ دَرَجَاتٍ, and he places you one above the other in darajat. One of the darajat is being created male and female, and the males, the husbands, have daraja above the wife. This daraja is also described by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as fadlu. So sometimes Allah calls it fadlu, and once in a while He calls it daraja. So the daraja that you have over your wife is also the fadlu that Allah gives the man over the wife, the woman. But the purpose of this daraja is examination. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ فِيمَا آتَاكُمْ, to test you over what He has given you. إِنَّ رَبَّكَ سَرِيعُ الْعِقَابِ وَإِنَّهُ لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Indeed, your Lord is swift in punishment and is also forgiving, merciful. How does khilafah amount to ibadah? It is for several reasons. Let's take one or two so that we will take other things tonight. Khilafah is ibadah because you are the representative of Allah on earth, and as the representative of Allah, you have to do what Allah does to you, to others. Allah is Rabb, is Lord. As Rabb, as Lord, He provides, He protects, He answers prayers, He rewards good and punishes disobedience. Let's take this 5 only. Allah is Rabb, who owns. Because He owns, He takes care of His property. Because we are His property. Ayah 110, 111 rather, of Surah At-Tawbah, we and our property, our life and our property belong to Allah once we declare the kalima. Once you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you sign a deal with Allah to sell your life and your property to Allah. Inna Allah ashtara min al-mu'minin anfusahum wa amwalahum bi anna lahum al-jannah. Indeed, Allah has purchased from believers their lives and property in exchange for al-Jannah. Now, as a man, you virtually own your wife and children. And because of this, you must provide accommodation for them, just like Allah who owns you provides accommodation for you. Makan fil ard. Two, you must feed them, just like your owner, your Lord, feeds you. 3, you must clothe them, just like your Lord Allah clothes you. You must also answer their call. Whenever they ask you for something, you must give. 5, you must protect. You must protect, because no one will protect them except you. Now, a wife bears the name of her husband, like the wife of Noah, the wife of Lut, and it means they are owned by them. You went to her father's house to take her into your possession. There is no father who willingly lets his daughter leave his house for another person's house, except for one thing. He cannot provide the emotional and passion need of our daughter, but he can provide accommodation, food, and clothing, but he cannot provide our emotional needs. So when you are marrying, what you are telling your father-in-law or your wali is that I will take possession of your daughter, I will accommodate her, I will feed her, I will clothe her, and what you cannot do, and we do for her. She needs it. So, as Lord, that is why our mothers used to call our fathers Oluwa mi, Ọkọ mi, Oluwa mi, Olówó orí mi, meaning they got it. So, as Lord, you must do all this. But doing all this does not depend on whether they are good or bad. Indeed, according to Ayah 14 of Surah At-Taghabun, إِنَّ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكُمْ وَأَوْلَادِكُمْ عَدُوًّا لَكُمْ فَاحْذَرُوهُمْ. Among your wives and children are your enemies. Keep away from them. But if you overlook, you pardon, and you forgive, you will find Allah as Ghafurur Rahim, forgiving, merciful. Next ayah. إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ وَاللَّهُ عِندَهُ أَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. Your wealth and your children, especially male children, are fitna, but with Allah is mighty reward. In other words, Allah did not tell you that if you're righteous and you're doing good, you won't find enemies among your wives and children. Allah did not say if you pay, you train, you feed, you accommodate, you do everything good to your children, they will pay back. No, children are not investment good. But the reward for taking care of them as your possessions, you being their Lord, as Khalifa of Allah on earth, is a mighty reward from Allah. You get mighty reward from Allah. The reward is not from them. And whoever thinks that his child is an investment good, and when he finishes, get a job, he should be paying back, he should be feeding him, is signing poverty and penury. Because there'll be no time when it will be enough for the child. As he grows, he marries, he gets his own children, he will be in your shoes. And then he's not likely to think much about you. So we have this first relationship. We are lords over our wives and children. It does not matter whether they are good or bad. Number two, we are teachers to them, whether they will take our teaching or not. We teach them. We teach them by example. We teach them by precept. Doing this comes with its own problems. The child may not obey you. The child may not even be a believer. What do? The child is supposed to be Qurrat Ayun for you. What you need from your wife and children is for them to become Qurrat Ayun for you. It is not so that as a lawyer, your son must be a lawyer like you to inherit your books and so on. No. Your child doesn't have to be a doctor. It may be your wish. It may be your dream. It doesn't have to be realized. What must be realized is that whatever your child becomes in life, which is his own qadar, he must be cooling off your eyes. Whatever your wife is, it is good. If you marry a professional, you will see less of her. And you cannot marry a professional and expect a full housewife, responsibilities, duties, disposition, and attitude. No. When you do that, you want to eat your cake and have it, and you're going to get into trouble. If you think professional, a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer is a plus. Then of course, it may be a plus. I think these are the things you want. You are going to be happy if they say your wife is a professor, blah, 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 blah. Well, you won't see much of her. Marriage for beauty, you have to pay for it. You pay in terms of maintenance of the beauty. You also pay in terms of anxiety, jealousy, and the rest of it. You are in trouble. Marry a full housewife. You don't expect material support from her. If you want to expect material support from a full housewife, then you're in trouble. There are many things like that. You have to determine what your wife is that you think will make you happy, but you have to accept the consequences of not desiring the right thing from your wife and children to be the cooling of your eyes. How do you get this? You pray for it. Allah told us that the Ibadur Rahman are those who pray. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما. Our Lord, grant from among our wives and children the cooling of our eyes and make us the Imam of the righteous. These are just the two things. To be a source of happiness to you, no matter what he is. Sometimes you want an Hafiz, and he will memorize the Quran and join it with criminality. He will be a criminal. He may even be a sheikh. He knows the Quran in order to use it to get girls, in order to use it as locally to do Yahoo, so on and so forth. There are plenty in Ilorin with due apology. So, the act of Ibadah, which is prayer, dua, is basically because we cannot make our family, our wives and children, what we want. But we can ask Allah to make them what He wants. That is, for them to be the cooling of our eyes and for us to be leaders of the righteous. Now let's go to Adam, alayhi salatu wasalam, and Noah. Adam, alayhi salatu wasalam, was given 3 instructions. And any couple that go away, that stays away from these 3 instructions will meet the consequences of the 4th reaction. Number 1, Iskun anthropological gender, stay together, you and your wife. Eat halal. Don't go to haram. Haram are of 2 types. Haram that are mentioned in the Quran, haram that the Prophet Islam mentioned. 2, haram because of the source of procuring the food. Yeah, your food will provide energy for whatever you want to do in life. And so, as the Khalifa of Allah, the 2 of you must obey the instruction of Allah, who is the original owner of you, your world, and the other world. You have no right to make your own law. When you now have work, you have schedules, you have circumstances, political, economic, social circumstances, social role, social status, and so on and so forth, that requires that you stay away from your wife. You cannot use anything. I am not aware of anything you can use to justify it. You are 20, 30, 40 kilometers away from your wife, and you have to become a weekend husband. You are disobeying Allah and rationalizing it through shaitan. Shaitan is making you rationalize it. When you are in such a tight shit, tight corner, deep shit, you keep quiet. You accept responsibility, You accept your fault. You accept that this is fitna from Allah. And you don't go home and start complaining because you're staying away from your wife is an offense in the first instance. And you have created doubt. You have killed trust. She will not ordinarily trust you in your absence. You will also not trust her in her absence. This is one of the reasons many rascals among us now opt for second wife. Your wife is 600 kilometers away, so you are being pressured by other women who have also been similarly neglected. Sometimes Muslim men commit sin because this sin is not natural. Once you start committing sin, you cannot have your home again because you assume that your spouse is also committing sin, and it goes both ways. Now, when your source of nutrition is haram, because you have to compete with others, you have to spend money on things that are not necessary, and then you have to look for money in some other ways, and your source of money to buy food that you eat is haram, or where you force your working wife to contribute to the food you eat in your house, you are offending Allah and you are stabbing obedience, compliance, and submission. You can't eat your cake and have it. You can't make her share your responsibility and also expect submission, complete submission. It won't work. And so, great men hardly have great families because they lack the two ingredients of peaceful home: attention and attendance. You are in attendance when you are together, but you are not paying attention when you don't talk, you don't discuss, you are not together, you are in the same house, you are in fact in the same living room, even on your bed. Each of you is communicating with somebody 600 kilometers away through your phone. You are communicating with different people. You are closer to people far away. You don't pay attention. You don't stay in attendance. You don't expect peace. And greatness does not allow these two. You are busy. You are going to do things. May Allah save us. May Allah help us. May Allah give us the understanding. Third question. Why is it that great men do not have great families? Adam was mentioned in terms of his children by the crime one of them committed. No child of Adam is mentioned in the Quran except Habil and Kabil. But in Sirah, in history, it was said that when Hawa became pregnant, Adam prayed. But before the child was born, Shaitan came and said he should name him the son of the earth. Adam refused, and the child became an abortion. Second pregnancy, he came again and said, will you do? Adam said no. And the child came as deformed, horned child. Third time, he had the first child. Many people think it was shit. He had first child, he had second, and they were all twins until it reached the turn of Habil and Kabil. They were also twins. Kabil wanted his own twin sister, who was beautiful. But the practice was Kabil will marry the twin sister of Abel, and Abel will marry his own twin sister. Kabil wanted his own twin sister. He didn't want Abel's twin sister. Allah told them to do a sacrifice. Allah accepted the sacrifice of Abel, and so Abel was to marry Kabil's sister. The Kabil, whose sacrifice was not accepted, decided that he was going to kill Abel, and he did. He regretted. He was the first human being to kill, to spill the blood that the angels said we were going to spill. What caused the first crime on earth? Women. And they were all children of Adam. It is not possible for Adam to be happy with this. And the curse went on up to the children of Israel. We don't have time to go into details. Now, we go to Noah alayhi salatu wasalam. The story of Noah is quite heart-rending. Noah alayhi salatu wasalam prayed to Allah not to spare any of the kuffar. Allah promised him that he was going to destroy all the kuffar, and he was going to save all the Muslims except his wife. So when the ship was ready and the punishment of Allah was to descend, Allah commanded Noah alayhi salatu wasalam to do three things. One, to take animals in pairs. All animals on earth, to take them in pairs and put in the ship. Two, to take his family into the ship. Three, to take all the believers into the ship. Because at that time, Allah had told him that no one will believe again after those who had believed already, 88 of them. And he lived with them for 950 years. Not up to one person per century. So Allah said, take the 88 people into the ship, take your family into the ship, and take animals into the ship in pairs. And Nabi Noah alayhi salatu wasalam did this. And then when everybody had boarded the ship, his son refused. He pleaded with his son. He said, Irkab ma'ana, board the ship with us. The son said, I'm going to be saved from this water by climbing the mountain. Noah told his son, there is no salvation today except whoever believes and enters this ark. The son refused. So when the son was drowning, Nabi Noah told Allah, Inna ibli min ali, wa inna wa'adaka al-aqqa, wa anta khairul hakimin, wa anta akamul hakimin. He said, hey, my Lord, this is my son drowning. He's one of my family. You have, and your promise is true to save my family, but you are the best of judges. Allah said, Laysa min alik. Innahu amalun ghayru salih. It's not one of your family. It is a deed that is not righteous. If you read translation, they will open a bracket and say he did. Allah did not say he did. He is the deed. He is a deed that is not righteous. And don't ask me questions about what you don't have knowledge about, so that you not become one of the Jahilun. And Noah said, my Lord, I seek refuge in you from asking you questions about what I don't know. If you don't forgive me and have mercy on me, I will be one of the losers. What is more distressing than this? Wife gone, son gone. Apparently, there are other members of the family. It looks like only the girls, only the females enter the ark. Perhaps the only son refused. Perhaps the first son. Wife, son did not go. Questions. Why did Allah delay until the last moment to reveal to Noah that the son was not his son? Apparently, Allah started by saying he's not one of your family. Two, when Noah knew that his wife was a kafira, why did he not divorce her? Yeah, we don't know why Allah delayed, because that is a divine DNA. Perhaps if Noah had known that his son was a bastard, he would have disowned him. If he had disowned him, that would have led to divorcing his wife. Because apparently the wife committed the two sins that warrant divorce. She committed kufru, she was a kafira. According to Surah At-Tahrim, ضرب الله مثلا الذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تعبدين من عبادنا الصالحين فخانتاهما ولم يغن عنهما من الله شيئا وكلا ادخلا النار مع الداخلين. Example, parable for the unbelievers, the wife of Noah, the wife of Lut. On a lighter mode, Mrs. Noah, Mrs. Lut, and somebody is saying a woman has no right to bear her husband's name. Is Allah wrong? Mrs. Lut, they were both under our righteous servants, among our servants. They betrayed their husbands and they did not benefit anything from being wives of prophet, and we asked them to enter hell disgraced. Issues here, many issues here. Now, we have this situation with Noah. If he had divorced his wife for committing zina and for becoming a kafira, the people have used it against him, that even his wife and his son do not believe him. So if they know that he's truthful, they will have believed him. So it can happen to you too. You can be disowned by your family, your wife, your children. But does it tarnish your spiritual image and status? No. The fact that the wife of Noah was a kafira and the son was a bastard did not reduce the status of Noah as a prophet. There are wide spectrum of issues around this, not only for du'as, but for ordinary Muslims. Are you going to disown a child for being recalcitrant? Are you going to withdraw care, training, love? Yes, the last one is very difficult not to withdraw. But does Allah do so to you? Do you obey Allah in all the things that you do? Are you even consciously seeking for forgiveness for not complying with the will of Allah? For example, I know many people, they have many wives and they travel alone. So what is the essence of having many wives and you travel alone for 1 month, you travel alone? Probably because the wives are working, probably because you don't have the means to take any of the wives. What was the sunnah? The sunnah was that the Prophet ﷺ, we do a tally, and then we cast a lot, and whoever among the wives the Lord took, he would take her on the journey. Do you take your wives on your journeys? And so on and so forth. So I will soon stop for us to have a good conversation. But the last question is this: why do great men not have great family? Who is sending it to a third party? Why is it that we don't have great family men when they are great? It is basically due to shaitan. Basically due to shaitan. You remember, shaitan dealt with Adam through knowledge. Shaitan is the author of kufru and zina. All kaba'ir, Shaitan is the author. If you have a great family, as a great man, it will have multiplier effect on lesser men. Shaitan knows this, and he does not want it. And Shaitan makes sure that it does not happen. So if you are a da'iyah, Shaitan directly attacks your family. It will not make you have peace, so that when you're either frustrated, trying to fix your family and then abandoning dawah, or you face your dawah, abandon your family, and your family have an excuse to go against you. To even become bad members of the society, a serious burden, a moral issue on your dawah. For if a da'iyah has peace, mashallah, the world will have peace. But it starts from here. The wife of the da'iyah attacking the ordinance of Allah. What is this ordinance? To think that polygamy is haram. You are not going to say it. You're not going to say it. You're going to oppose it. You're going to work against it. You're going to fight with everything. Whereas polygamy is not just sunnah. Polygamy is fitra. Fitra. This is the nature of man. When a man is challenged this way, he wants to try what the wife does not want to prove a point. Usually, the man that wants to prove a point has not completely married that one woman, but he wants to respond to the challenge. Want to tell his wife that I'm in charge here and I can do whatever I like. And the wife is going to say, go ahead. You find me there. Let's go there. I will deal with you. This is the first, most common means of creating hell in the house of a great man. 2, the great man himself, whether he's capable or not, who does not consider the nature of his first wife, goes and married 2, 3, 4 wives. Sometimes you marry a woman that you should not marry a second on. They just want to prove that to a man, then you go ahead and do it, then you face the consequences. Sometimes it is incapacitation. This man doesn't have the capacity. Sometimes, Allah Akbar, I think I've told you this story before. This man was not satisfying one woman. He went ahead and married two. And the second wife just, when I called them, I asked the husband to excuse us. I asked the woman, Madam, what exactly is the problem that you cannot tell people? He said, Imam. She said, Imam, this man, when it is my turn, for 3 days, he will ragefully do one round, only one. And that will be for another 3 days. So in 6 days, I enjoy my husband only one round, because he can't do more than that. In 3 days. And meaning he meets the wives twice in a week. He meets two wives. He has intimacy with two wives 2 days in a week. He said he increased it to 3. But how can you divide 3 between 2? He said it is the younger one that always asks for that, so he gives her 2 days out of 3. And he gives only 1 day to the senior wife. There are people who don't have the 3 capacity. You don't have the intelligence to manage women. You don't have the material wherewithal to manage women. You don't have the physical strength to manage women. You keep them in prison and you expect peace. You're joking. This happens. Number 3, men are always in competition. Some funny men will say, look at this young man. When was he born? He's married to 3 wives. They are doing the same work. I'm even richer than him. You go ahead and marry. Run into your problems. Your children begins to react. Like, for example, you have been married for 20 years. Then that is when you want to marry another wife. You're late. You're late. You are above 50. That's when you want to marry second wife. You're late. Because you have a master at home. If you have the intention of doing it, do it when you are young. Before 40, complete your 4 wives. Then you display all the madness and then sort yourselves out. People do this thing when they're already late. And the excuse is usually that I'm securing my old age. Mommy, while we go and do Omugo, I will live alone. I know somebody in Lagos who, unfortunately, he was a Christian, but he got caught up in this conspiracy theory. Your wife will leave you when you get old. He married second, married third. Unfortunately, from the 3 wives became friends, and they started competition. The children of one were in UK, the other was in Canada, the third one, I keep forgetting the country. And all of them left him. He died alone. Nobody knew he died until 2 weeks when he had decomposed. And nobody asked of him. So there was no security for the old age, which was the reason for polygamy at old age. Brothers, I am not preaching anything. I'm only saying, let us be careful, let us be careful, let us be careful. Polygamy is fitra, it's nature. Whoever opposes polygamy is sick in the head or in his body or in his pocket. So opposition to polygamy is push. But polygamy is not wajib. Making it wajib is push. So when you make it wajib upon yourself and you go ahead, when you can't manage it, it is you who have cursed the crisis in your family as a great man. However, polygamy, like riches, is qadar. If it is qadar, Allah will make it easy for you. But if it is ojukokoro, it is also qadar, because That ojukokoro is sabab for qadar. And sometimes it is your emotion. Sometimes you pity a woman. Maybe usually a widow. A widow is suffering, and then the children need a man in their lives and so on. Then you wade into it. You combine it with your own emotion and greed, desire to taste women. Then all these things happen. When it is qadar, it will be qadar, it will be clear, Allah will help you. But there is no paradise in the home of any great man. Because Shaitan will not allow it. We stop here tonight. We continue next week with another prophet, great prophet. We have gone through him before. His name is Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And we see what happened to Ibrahim and how he managed his family and how Allah used him as the best example in management of family. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Okay. I didn't know what is going on, no, and I won't mention your name too. I didn't know what is going on with one of my students, but I know these things happen. I just know that these are the things that are happening. Thank you very much. I won't mention your name. Odesami Global Surura Coordinator. I'm done.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan, sir. Yes, those people raised hand. Can you quickly ask your question, make your comment?
Assalamu
Okay.
alaikum.
Alaikum salam to
Alaikum
Odesami.
salam.
We pray to Allah to preserve you for us, Imam, and increase you more knowledge and understanding. And we that we follow you, may Allah increase us knowledge as well. I need the clarification as regard the polygamous issue. But one thing I want to understand more is that if we are not encouraging the polygamous, as Allah says that if you can marry 2, 3, 4, or if you cannot do, can stick to one. But in the regardless of the population of a woman nowadays, if one is a little bit richer and he decided to go for second, and the first wife did not, did not disturb me of going for second wife as well, and Allah has assisted him so far. So I think that someone can go for that as well. You get my question, sir?
You're right. You are not asking questions. You are right. You are making statement of fact. You are right completely. You can go for second, third, fourth if you have the capacity. So I have no comment on that. Nobody is discouraging you from doing that because, like I said, it is kufru to oppose polygamy. But it is also kufru to make it compulsory for yourself. Allah did not make it compulsory. But whatever we say, the absolute truth is that polygamy is qadar. If it is your qadar, you may want to help women who have no husband. The Prophet has said it will happen. So even if you marry 20, there will still be women without husband. But it doesn't matter. The sabab for your polygamy is part of qadar. Wallahu alam.
Yeah, Global Sururaba. Global Sururaba. Can you ask your question? You can unmute now. Ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Grandma.
Sir, my prof son,
No.
I pray Almighty Allah will continue to increase your knowledge and keep you, elongate your life in goodness, and make this effort towards you of Allah's abundant reward here and in the hereafter. Amen. First of all, I want to briefly comment on the last speaker's comment that if one is capable. I don't think capability is only financial. There should be mental, psychological capability, and that's what is happening in most cases of polygamy. People just go into it. Some people want to share and co. Others just feel, okay, this is opportunity to deal with the wife at home, and so many others like that. I don't think that should be encouraged. Just like the prof said, if you decide to marry 20, there will still be some men that will be unmarried. That's number. Number two is that according to the statistics, men are more.
Yeah, are we losing the voice? What happened? We can't hear her again. Okay, while searching for grandma's voice, can we take
please?
Okay. We can hear you anymore. Alaikum salam.
Yes. Well, let me quickly ask, or maybe comment it. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when it's cut off, but I said that of the population men are still more than women in Nigeria and the whole world. And like, if we decide to marry 20, there will still be some. So whoever to practice polygamy, you first go and ask how it is to be done. Get how it's supposed to be done. You should be financially, physically, psychologically, mentally capable of doing it. Now back to my own something. You mentioned, Prof, that we should not.
Well, we lost that voice. Yeah, we are still waiting for that voice.
Can we have
Assalamu alaikum, am I back?
Well,
I don't know the net is.
Your voice is breaking, and it is almost time. I cannot get what. Let me address the chat. Why must a man not marry on some women? I depend on the man and the woman. There are women that are demonically possessed. When you have married them, marrying another is creating problem